Hey, we back. I'm here on Discord. You can see I have the list of flags. There's quite a lot of them. I found this by doing search NN. I believe you can also just do search on flags. That'll bring it up as well. And there's a long list. So I'm going to kind of go through them, explain how to use each of them effectively. What they do, obviously. But yes, how to use them effectively, because some of them are actually really useful, and most of them are not used. So yes, obviously, some of them are considerably less useful than others. But I use probably most of them at some point for some things. So yeah, that's the plan. There's a lot of them, so I won't go into huge amounts of detail on each because it seems like a bit of a waste. But yeah, we'll just start at the top and work the way down. So we have WH and WH. These are fairly self-explanatory. They're like filters. They only show waifus or husbandos or both genders. So as it says here, you use them on NN and IMA, or IM or whatever, you know. But so like for example, I could say on here, okay, let's do IMA on No Game No Life. Right, this is going to show this long list of characters. There's 2 pages of them. There you go. And now let's do IMA W on No Game No Life. As you can see, list slightly shorter. Honestly, not affected that much. You can see Neville here, who is now 2 up from the bottom, was on the bottom there. And then if you do the opposite, we can do IMA H on No Game No Life. And there's barely anyone there. Because most of the characters are female. Actually, it's pretty evenly split. I guess they're all just in the second half of the alphabet. Fair enough. Anyway, so yes. Oh no, yeah, 24. Okay. Anyway, the point is, yeah, they're fairly self-explanatory. You can use them pretty well to figure out what roles to be doing. Right. So, for example, let's say you want to be, should I be rolling WA or HA or MA or something like that? You can use these with top, right? So here's a good use for them. We've got top H. Oh wait, top. We haven't got to the U flag yet. But just go with me on this one. I'll explain that one in a minute. I mean, it shows what's unclaimed. But yeah, U is one of the most important flags. So you can see 4,100, and then if I do it with W and go back here, you've got 1,500. So there are 1,000 characters in the top 1,500 that are female, and there are only 4. There's only 1,000 characters in the top 4,000 that are male, which means that there is a much larger majority of female top characters. Now this makes sense because I only claim males on the server, so I don't roll WA at all, and there's more females anyway. But if we check the same commands over here, for example, where we roll females, top WU, we have 3,100 on there, whereas with H, it's going to be 2,500. So I would actually get more high ranks by rolling HA on this server than WA. On here, it is going to be even more extreme. So we've got with W all the way down at 4,000, and then this is probably going to be about the same at 2,500. Yeah, about the same. So again, here, you know, I should be rolling HA. I don't because it's a key server and it's kind of different, but you get the point, right? So W and H flags can be used for that. They also could just generally be used for finding info about your harem, for example. So on PR, I don't think I have it on. Oh no, I do. So it'll show you how much percentage you've got here. Like I said, on here it's all male for me, and then these 2 are the female ones. But I turn this off a lot of the time on my profile. We did a sorting video recently, so if you want to know how to do that, check that one out. But yeah, I turn that list off, so if I want to figure it out, I can do something like this. There we go, we've got 11 pages, females, 117 of males. obviously got a lot more males. But now you're wondering, but hang on, you said this was a male server. Why do you have so many females? These are all double-gendered people. Right, as it says in the flags, we have people that are both genders. This is how to filter from both genders. However, what if you want just waifu and both just husbando? Obviously, this is here. So now what I can do is I can do W equals, where I have a couple, and H equals, where I have 107. Now there is still a few females only, as you can see here. This is mostly due to when I accidentally roll different things, or when they were changed in gender. Elon Musk-chan probably used to be both genders, and now has changed, etc. It's the same as how I have Rimuru on here. If I do H equals, there we go, I've got Rimuru even though it's a female server, because he used to be double-gendered, etc. So you can do things like that as well. Some people try and have like a pure harem, like, oh, I only want females in my harem. You can just run this command to check if you've accidentally got any males and divorce them or something, you know. So you could use it for something like that too. Anyway, yes, the W and the H commands are pretty useful, mostly for the top thing, if you want to find out what you want to be rolling. But you can also use it to sort out your harem and stuff like that. And like I said, you can do it with series as well. So let's say I want to collect No Game No Life. Then I can figure out, should I roll H and get these characters, or should I roll W and get these characters? Obviously I've got all the H ones, so if I want to collect No Game No Life, I need to start rolling WA. As we can see, don't have many of them. And W equals, H equals, they're going to work with this as well. It's all universal, supposedly. There is actually a couple of problems with it, which is what people complain about, and they slowly fix them. Anyway, then you've got the same list here for game, again, pretty useful for figuring out what you should be rolling. This is probably not something you're going to be rolling with top, because if we put top G, there's going to be not much here. This goes down to 5,000, and that's including both. If you have top G equals, I have no idea how low this is going to go, almost 9,000. And half of these characters is probably from Azur Lane anyway, which you can't get now. No, nice. Big rip on those two. But, yeah. So this works the same as the W and the H, used for slightly different things, because obviously when you're rolling, you can pick like a gender, and then you pick like a game or an anime or whatever. So you could roll WA, or you could roll HG, or you could have both, or whatever, right? And you can use the G as well to figure out the second part of that in the same sort of manner. If you want to be rolling G or not, you can also figure out, hey, do I maybe have any game characters? Oh yeah, I have a few, but these are probably both. What about only game? Oh yeah, all these. Another thing that I use it for is working out what to wish for. The game one is quite important with that, because obviously it makes a big difference. Now I roll most of the time actually NA. Once the server's got off its feet, you know, and the top stuff has been claimed, I stop rolling WA, I roll MA. But what do I wish for? I can't roll game characters. I normally get stuff off my wish list. So what I can do is I can do like this G minus, and then this removes all the game characters from my like list. Now I know what to wish for. Because I can't wish the game characters, I won't be able to roll them. Right? I don't want to accidentally be wishing for game characters and then wasting a wish slot, right? So G minus is pretty useful for that as well, figuring out who you can actually roll. Of course, it's the same if you're doing the other way. If you're only rolling for game, you can use G equals to find out who you're rolling and make your wish list like that. So yeah, and you could use W and H for those things as well, but I assume you know what gender one of your wish list character is. You might not know whether they count as a game or not, because sometimes it is a little sketchy. Some of them count as games, some of them count as both, you know, whatever. So yeah, there you go. You can figure out what to wish for like that. Another thing that we've got here is the series, the bundles, and character search. S is for DMs. I generally advise against using this. I know a lot of people do, just because you'll get a lot of DMs, it's going to take up a lot of space. But if you want to be private about your searching, then fair enough. I think you can delete the message that you sent with D, maybe? No, that's for details. I don't know. Yeah, people probably are going to know what you're searching for anyway, so I don't really see the point in having DMs, but that's up to you, obviously. DMs is fairly nice. Character search, if you type some text. I never use this one, actually, because there's a different way of searching. So, for example, let's say I want to search for, I don't know, now, right? Let's do I'm now. But maybe I can't remember what a second name is. What you can do is you can put P on the front. That didn't work, did it? Yeah, okay. What if we do like this then? Oh yeah, there you go. So now it's searching for everything that has now in it, right? But if you want the other search, what we have, if we put a little $sign at the end of it like that, it's going to bring up that list that you get, right? So you can see which now you want. So it's like maybe you do this and you're like, oh no, that's not the now I wanted. So then you can just run this one and you go, oh yeah, now tomorrow, yes. Obviously the best character on this list. Or in fact any list, I mean, not gonna lie. Anyway, yeah, so you can use that for searching. P also works for searching. There you go. You can tell I never use P because I tried it there and it didn't work. But yeah, searching your harem for character. There you go, very nice. Series list. Again, we've already kind of touched on that. You can search for like a series. If I go up to here, I was doing No Game No Life. You shove the A on. I think the A has to go first. I mean, let's see. If I do it like that, is this going to work? No, see, that doesn't work. The A does need to go first if you're going to use it. But, you know, that's fine. You can always just put it first. So yeah, A is a useful one, obviously, if you want to search for a whole series. And then bundles. Bundles are also pretty useful. So for example, I could do IMAB on the Going in Life. Now I know what bundles it's in. This is helpful for making your disable list. You can find out what bundles certain anime are in. If you keep rolling the same anime over and over again, and it seems like it has loads of characters, you can run IMAB on it, see if it's in any big bundle that you could then disable. You know, so let's say I don't want to roll with No Game No Life, I can do IMAB on it and then, oh, I should disable Kadokawa because it's really large. You know? Works well. You can also do this in reverse. So if I take Kadokawa here and I do IMAB on that, it'll show me all of the bundles that's contained within it, which is a bit of an easier way to search than doing IMAB on it, because you do not. Well, I haven't gone through all of those flags yet, maybe I shouldn't mention them. But let's do IMAB. Like, look, 560 pages. Are you going to go through all of this to find your disable lists? I don't think so. I don't think you are. But going through this is a lot more doable. It's way easier to make disable lists now. You don't have to go through all of that, and we'll get to flags that can help out even further. But I know when I made my first disable list, the flags other than that didn't exist, so I used B for that, and I went through this whole list to get all of my anti-disables. It was a lot of work, but yeah, so B is a pretty useful flag for making disable lists and anti-disable lists. So yeah, that one's good. Right, so now we've done this first chunk, we'll move on to the second one. We have claim ranks, like ranks, and Kakarot value. So these are all pretty useful. You will see our flag used in most things. I'm honestly not sure why most people use R and not K. I do the same. I use R. I'm just used to it. K gives you a lot more information because Kakarot is worked out from claim ranks and like ranks combined. So if you're running K, you know the actual worth of someone, whereas if you're running R and L, then it only gives you a rough estimate, you know? So running K is probably smarter, but yeah, a lot of people run R. So for example, I can do IMAB on No Game No Life. It sorts it by rank and it puts the rank next to it, so you know how much everyone is ranked by. The same would be true for L, obviously. You'll see the ranks are pretty much the same, but slightly different for each character, because this is the liked value instead. And then you have K as well. And I'll show the Kakarot values. You'll notice this one isn't ordered. It doesn't order it by Kakarot values unless you use K equals, which then orders it by Kakarot values. And you can also run more than one of these at once, so I could have IMAB K, Oh yeah, I didn't actually put them on. There we go. So here, look, it's ordering them by rank, but it's also showing Kakao values. And again, it's not ordering by Kakao values. You can tell this because look at these things, right? It's clearly not in order. But again, if you wanted to, you can use with k equals, and then it's still showing the ranks, but it's ordering by Kakao instead. Simple. So yeah, that's good. You can fiddle about with these as much as you like. Another thing that you can do that a lot of people don't know is put R and L together, and it'll combine them. So you notice Shira before, her rank is 26, her like rank, there you go, is 15. So if you put them both, she's ranked 20. So this is pretty much the same as doing k equals, because it gives you a proper overview of both parts, like and ranks. You can tell who is actually worth more. So yeah, that one works well. A lot of people use that, but most people just use R, which, like I say, is kind of weird to me, but I do the same. I think it's just what everyone's used to. So moving on from those, just generally used for like trading and stuff. If you just want to see who is ranked high, who to wish for, who to claim, who to trade for, etc., etc. Pretty much used all the time. Most people, like I say, use R. But pretty much every command that I run that's like mm or IMA or anything like that, I'll shove R onto it, because that's pretty helpful to get them in order. Now, the keys one is slightly different. I mean, it works the same way. You've got Y, it works the same as the Kakao value one. You can sort it by keys with Y equals, the same as K equals. It will show the keys if you put Y. But this is slightly different because this shows keys only. Right, so for example, if I do my on here, you can see I have 117 pages. Now if I do MMY, you notice it's gone down a bit. The characters that don't have any keys are not on this list. Right, at all. They're just not here. Right. I don't know why those have notes of dust. Honestly, not sure. I should figure that out at some point. Anyway, yeah, these all have keys, right? Anything that doesn't have keys doesn't show up here. So if you want it to show up, then you have to use plus, right, like this. So now we should be back to our 117 pages, and it's the same, right? It's still showing the keys. It's just showing other stuff as well. And then minus does what you would expect and shows only the stuff that doesn't have keys. So now we've got 18 pages. It'll be those 17 plus a few spare that we were missing from the last one. You see? Very nice. So if you want to know who to wish for, if you're wishing for keys, you could use this. A lot of people order by keys, I can see, okay, who have I got on Soul List, for example? Let's see. Oh, yeah, those characters. There's quite a few of them on here. But keys a lot of the time is just kind of a bit of a flex as well. So you can use MMY equals as a bit of a flex too. If you have MMRY equals, now you're showing ranks as well, so you can see who the actual good people are. Byakuya has the most keys, and then Isaac, but realistically Kirby is probably the best key on this list because he's still level 14, but way higher rank. So there you go. Y, again, a very helpful flag, used for mostly flexing, but also wishing perhaps. Now, C is not too helpful. Some people do use embed color for like actual legitimate uses. I know someone that uses it to show key levels of characters more easily. So he'll color it depending on the color of the key. So if it becomes a silver key, he'll change the embed color. A gold key, he'll change the embed color. And that is actually helpful because it means that we know if we're likely to get orange Kakao on them and stuff like that. So especially if you're doing something like that, the C flag is going to be pretty useful to you. Because if nothing else, you can show without embed color what you have left to do. So again, I've got 117 pages on here. If I do C minus, bad example because I have not embedded anything. Let's go over here. let's see, so I've got 182 pages on here, and then if I do C minus, it goes down to 171. I still haven't embedded much because I kind of gave up embedding. But as you can see, let's suppose that what I always used to do is I would do MMRY C minus, right? And now, and MMR C minus Y. Right, there we go. Now we know who we can embed. So now here we go. I go through this list and I can say, okay, Violet's a very high rank. People are going to notice her. She's got some keys, so I can embed color on her, and I haven't yet. So let's embed something with it, you know? And I will just kind of go through like that and embed all of the people on this list that I cared about. So that's quite nice as well. Also, if you use your embeds for sorting in some manner, in the same way that you can use notes for sorting, you can use embeds for sorting. So then I can do MMC and I can just see who's sorted by stuff. I don't think you can sort by embed color. I'm not sure about that one, honestly. I don't think you can. So yeah, but you can still show what colors they are. So for example, if you've got an embed color on one person and you want to copy it over to another, you can embed color like that. And of course you can use the P to find a certain character in your list. So let's say I'm on here and I'm like, hey, I want to have the same color as Kurisu. Let's say I haven't run this one, I don't know if she's there. I'm sitting here like, oh, I want to color Violet the same color as Kurisu. How can I possibly do that? So now what I can do is I can have MMC, and then I can have P, Kurisu, and there we go. Now I know what color I've embedded on Kurisu, and also fake Kurisu. Fantastic. So yeah, C, reasonably well command. Now we're going into the third section. T for type of roles. This, I don't really see the point in it, to be honest, because you can just do exactly the same as you can with these. It does what it says in the tin. It says what type of roles they can be rolling. Main names just removes aliases. D is quite helpful sometimes because it says it does image and alias details, as it does. There we go. So you see how many aliases someone's got, how many images they've got, how many GIFs they've got. The maximum here is 25 and 5, which is why you see 30. There you go. Killia 25 and 5, that's max. 5 aliases, very cool. 36 aliases on Tanjiro, that doesn't have a max, etc., etc. Right. However, there is actually, I mean, this, I don't find this particularly useful. I never use it. There is a good use for it though, because if you run this with D, then it shows soul keys. Now on here it's all the same because there's just me on here. But remember, to get something on your soul list, you need to get 10 soul keys, not just 10 keys, right? So for example, if I go on here and I roll D, this is not all going to be the same. It shouldn't be. There you go. Here's a good example. Megumi. 4 keys, 3 soul keys. So when she hits level 10, even if I get every other key, I won't get her on soul list because someone else got another one of the keys. And if I want to check how close to soul list they are, I can run D on here and it'll show me. It shows you the embed color on these as well, which is quite nice. So you don't need to be running C. Again, this is why I don't run C, because even if I want the embed of something, I can just put D on. D, like it says, it shows details, and if you run it in alignment with Y, it is suddenly a lot more helpful. So yeah, finding out soul keys on characters is quite useful. As you can see, I still have most of my soul keys, but not everywhere, so maybe if I go on here, it will be a little bit different. Yeah, I'm missing a couple there, one there, one there. Oh, I'm missing all of Rin's ones. One on Toko, one on Mikan, so on and so forth. I still have most of them, you know, but like, yeah. And there you go. A lot of stuff. I will check this ping later. So yeah, D, a helpful flag when used with Y. It's not so helpful without the Y. V is quite helpful sometimes, just to, I mean, it does what it says, hide details such as notes. So for example, I'm going to use it with SL. My soul list has a bunch of notes on it, as you can see, and then if I put V, no more notes, right? And then let's say with like list, the same. I'm pretty sure like list V removes a bunch of stuff. There you go. it just kind of flattens it down a bit. It's a lot nicer for copy pasting if you're trying to copy paste maybe a wish list or a like list into a wish list or something like that. You can use V to remove that stuff. I also use it in my bot to remove a bunch of the extra text that gets shoved in with harems and such, so that I can break it down to this stuff here, just so we have the stuff that the bot needs. So then, yeah, V is reasonably helpful sometimes, but it mostly is just like aesthetic and for copy pasting. Noted and not noted are very helpful. Yeah, there's no n minus here, or n equals or anything like that, but there's just n and n plus. So again, it kind of does what it says. I don't have many notes here, so again I'll be using my SL as an example. If I do SLN, you'll see all of the top ones are gone. We're now just showing people that don't have a note. And then if I do SLN plus, we're showing just the people with a note. You see, now we've only got 20 pages. And if I go through a bit, it's going to skip straight from these top characters down to the ones that I don't know. You see, so N and N plus, that's actually really helpful. I use them a lot for trading and such, because I'll note characters based on who I think wants them. So for example, if I go here, if I do, say, MMR, a lot of people don't have notes. That's the ones I want to keep. These ones have notes of people that want them. So I can be like to any random person on the server, hey, do you want to trade? Here's my trading list. What do you want from here? And they can't see the people that I want to keep on here, so they can basically take whatever they want from this list. I don't care about any of this stuff. It's kind of annoying that they don't, because I know a bunch of people really want this stuff. That's why it's all got names next to it. But they don't ask for it anyway, because people on here don't trade. That's another matter. Theoretically, I say to them, hey, what do you want from this list? And they can ask for it, and we're all set. And then if I want to be just looking at the stuff that I want to keep, we can have this list, and there we go. I didn't put an R in there, maybe I should have done, but you get the point, no notes. So that's the stuff that I want to keep. However, there is another thing you can do, which isn't in the flags thing, because it's technically a different command. If you want to be using FN, if we run FN here, notes to search in your harem. This can still be used with a bunch of flags if you want. You could do like FNI, or FNO, or whatever, right? But yeah, so you can do it with a series as well, search a note in a series, separate the series and the note with the thing. Almost all filters options of MyMari are available, see search flags. So yeah, you can use pretty much any flag that you like on FN, but it's pretty useful to search for notes. So let's say I search for dot on here, which is stuff that I don't think anybody wants that I've claimed, including me. There we go, it's showing all of this stuff, and like I say, you can use flags with this. FNR, there you go, very cool. And see what I can do here is, because I've named all of this stuff, I can say, oh yeah, let me trade with Mike, and I can run FN Mike, and then it'll show all of the stuff that Mike wants, supposedly. I mean, it works, it just doesn't want any of it apparently. Anyway, there's your example. FN also very useful in tandem with N and N+, using the two of them to really manipulate the notes that you've got. If you're using notes seriously to organize your harem, as I'm doing on this server, then N, N+, and FN are all very useful. So yeah, good stuff. Let's move on to the next one more quickly, like, because this has been going on too long. Like I said, U and O. Okay, we'll get into it in a minute. U is a very useful command. A lot of people will be running Toku to see what they should be wishing for, what's unclaimed. Obviously, on here, most stuff is unclaimed because I only roll expandos. But let's say I go into maybe here, and I can run Toku on here, and I'll be like, hey, what should I wish for? This stuff. This is what's left, what's unclaimed, the highest ranked stuff that is not claimed. And again, let's say I'm collecting a series. I could be collecting No Game No Life, for example, and I'm going to run it like that, and there you go, what's unclaimed. Actually, we have everything from No Game No Life. Good stuff. I don't know, let's say I was trying to collect Fate. I'd gone crazy, I'm collecting Fate. This is what I need to wish for. Right, it's all here. So there, the U flag is very useful for making wishes, working out what to claim, all the rest of it. It's very helpful. Now the next one is the O command, flag, sorry. Pretty much just the opposite. As it says, it shows owner names. So if you notice before, when we do IMR, maybe another for example, it says which ones are claimed, but I don't know who has them. I want to trade with people maybe. So we put an O on it, and there you go. Now I know that I have those ones, which is very nice. So this is really helpful for trading. Now I said before, most people just use R. Most people also use O. You will see IMO in a lot of servers. Like if I go into here and I search IMO, I mean it's probably come up thousands of times. Yeah, there you go. People just use IMO all the time. It is the command. So yeah, MMR and IMO are the ones that people use most often. But yes, there are other methods of doing this though. As you see, there's O equals, O minus, and O plus. So for example, I could say, oh, what do I own from this? I can do IMO plus on No Game No Life, and now I know my particular collection. Actually, it doesn't show names. I didn't realise that. What if I put another O? Oh wait, no, I need to actually put No Game No Life afterwards. There you go. No, that doesn't work, okay. I guess it just assumes since you've put O plus, then you know you own all of this stuff. So, fair enough. But there you go. This is the stuff that I own from No Game No Life. Now, what you can do, again, very helpful with trading, is do O minus. So let's say, I don't know, I'm collecting V0 on here, legitimately, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm O minus, V0, I know Warmaster has a couple of those. I need to trade with him at some point. Right, on the other hand, if I do IMO V0, I can see this one on the top page. I don't know where the others are. I don't want to flick through all of this to try and find who owns the other one, you know? So O minus is very helpful. There's also O plus, like I said, again, to find out what I've claimed, a lot of them, I can do O equals, which is basically the same, the opposite of U. So this is just going to show only the unclaimed stuff. So you see 115 out of 115. If you actually look at the series, 115 out of 145. So those 30 that are unclaimed is just shaved off here. We've just got O equals. I don't use O equals or O plus particularly often. O equals is sometimes useful. I never really use O plus. But O minus is a lot more useful than people think. It's really helpful for trading, especially if you're trying to collect a big series like this. Another thing that I see people doing sometimes is adding it on with the I command, which we'll get to in a minute, but just trust me on this. So if I do O minus and I, it's going to show the image, then I can see, oh, do I actually care about this character? And do I actually care about this character? Right? You see what I mean? So, yeah. Pretty useful flag there. O is very good. Now if we go back to the list, there's only a couple left now. We have X. X is a reasonably new one, obviously very helpful for disables. A lot of people will do top X, so you can see what is disabled, what I've got disabled from the top list. So you want to be having this stuff as low ranked as possible really, because that means that the highest ranked stuff is anti-disabled, at least for you. As you can see, pretty successful in here. But that's because it's game mode 2, so it's easy. What have we got? And it shows why it's disabled as well, which is really helpful. So you've got toggle hentai, which is stopping you getting most of these. You've also got read iron. So this is going to be for the Zerlane reason, because Zerlane, all of these use hentai or Zerlane? Yeah, they actually are. It's a big rip on the Zerlane having so many characters suddenly disabled, but there you go. So yeah, top X is pretty useful for that. If I run it in a server that isn't Game Mode 2, for example over here, we can see that it's all on my disabled list. There we go. Now I have you disabled, which I probably shouldn't have. Probably should anti-disable you. I'll do it now, shall I? There you go, anti-disabled. Because this isn't a big series, is it? Here we go, I can check, you know. Yeah, see, it's only 6 characters. I'm going to add that onto my anti-disables for game mode 1. There you go. So yeah, I said it was a useful command. I'm already adding stuff on. I've only ran it once. There we go. Beautiful. So yeah, and you can just go through this list, like, do I care about these? Do I actually want them disabled? Blah, blah. I want most of these disabled. It's like some big series. It's like Teen Titans here, like one high-ranked character. I don't care about it. No one else cares about it. And it's actually not that large, but yeah, whatever. I'm happy to disable it. So there you go. TopX very helpful for that. You can obviously do it with MMR as well. So if I do MMRX, let's say I claimed something that was a wish, or I claimed something that has moved bundle or been disabled since or something by accident, I can now check. So if I look down here, I can see. So we've got Inuyasha, who I don't care about, Peppa Pig, who I didn't want the rest of the series, so I just wished her, Enterprise and Prince Eugen and such. These are from the Sarah Lane. I think there's a couple of fate ones here. Deadpool, yeah, I disable Marvel. I wish for them. So on and so forth. Revenge, I guess I probably wished for her, sure. Anyway, there's a lot of this. I'm not going through my disables now. But yes, so X is very useful for making disables. I wish it was a command back when I first made mine, I'll tell you that. Then you have with full harem as well. So again, does what you'd expect. It's the same as with Y and C. It's going to show the disables in your list and also the other stuff in your list. And then you've got X minus to see not disabled. I honestly don't know what use you would have for that, because most stuff isn't going to be disabled, but yeah. And then you've got I and I minus. Again, I don't use I minus ever because I never use the DMs. I don't really see the point, but I is very useful. You want to go through the series, I can do like I'm a I on No Game No Life, for example. And here we go, I've got all the pictures of the No Game No Life characters in here. That is a new Discord thing, look at that. I can't actually go over it. That's kind of cool though, look, it's a bit bigger. Huh, new Discord feature. What do you know? It's not got anything to do with the video, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but that's kind of cool. It's a new thing, it's a new look, you know, they've redone that little pop-up there. Yeah, very cool. Anyway, you can go through these lists like this, and this is going to work with your harem as well. I could do like MMRI, go through the stuff that I've claimed here, see pictures of stuff. I find what I was talking earlier about embeds is pretty useful for that as well, because obviously you've got the embed color here next to the picture, so you see what it's going to look like. So that's pretty useful. I said earlier about how I normally run this thing with the C. Where was I talking about it? I think we've gone past it. Okay, whatever then. I run that with I a lot, so we can get this. I is pretty useful. It's nice to see the images. It's just going to show you all of that stuff. So yeah, fairly self-explanatory then. Anyway, this is really long now. I mean, there's a lot of flags, I guess. Probably particularly boring, but hopefully I've kind of shown you how each of these flags can be used. Most of them are useful in some way. The only ones that I would say are not useful, the DM ones, which I personally don't use. I never use P. There's a couple of these random things here, like this and this and this, that seem like very phonetic-y that I would not use. I don't use embed color much anymore, but I used to. There's stuff like this that I don't really use, and this. I use Y and Y equals, but yeah, I don't use the plus and the minus on them. I never use K minus either. I don't think I even mentioned that. It does what it says, capital base value. So there you go. And etc. So yeah, good stuff. Most of these are useful in some situations. You'll get used to using them. Most people just run IMO and MMR on stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of uses for these flags, and getting to grips with the list overall, knowing what they're used for, is pretty nice. I know, like for example, a lot of people don't know about X, and if you don't know about X, then you're going to be kind of sad when you're making your disable list, you know. So keep an eye out for these things. It's always nice when new flags get added as well. One of my favourite days when a new flag gets added, because manipulating the Made database more easily is always good. But anyway, I think we're about done. So I will wrap this up here. Bye!